CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, the poster child of evil, or anything that comes with it. People often today think of it's as this apocalyptic, phenomenon that is going to happen one day and enslave us all for the rest of humanity, or a successor to nuclear annihilation as far as our fears go away. Fears are thought of. My take on it, bunch of nonsense in my opinion. People over exaggerate problems pretty much all the time, and CBDCs are nothing particular. If you were to look at things that we could consider, as the end, we had a bunch of things about it. There was the food shortage in 20th century. People say in the future, no one's gonna have enough food because we don't have enough land. Now we have more food than we can ever feed ourselves with. People found the modern fertilizers such as phosphorus, or ammonia was discovered. Well, method of making ammonia was discovered by Franz Haber, I think the guy's name was. So there was always a solution to the problem. Why do people keep doing this? Perhaps because we live too comfortable lives. Maybe it's in our nature to try to find some enemy, some thing to fear, as it's just like how our immune system works. You don't get enough parasites, you get allergic to peanuts. And that's the same with humans, filled with over exaggerations and unrealistic expectations. Why CBDCs won't be the end of the world? Well, let's look at a few ways. How can they be used? Well, they centralize the currency. Okay, we get that. What can they do with it? Well, there's the biggest fear is the expiring money, which I will go into in a minute. And the second one is when they can limit your money on what you can buy and what you can use it for. And the third one is, of course, freezing or completely, owning your money outright by the government. Now, the easiest one to answer is the third one, just because they can already do it right now. The reason they don't do it, because it's a holy rule of some sort. If people cannot own things, by themselves, it's a very big threat to society as a whole. If you can lose your every belonging to government, means no one owns anything, so people will not have any confidence in the government, and probably will either hoard things, hide things, or simply do a lot of illegal stuff because they will be in the fear of government's intervention to their belongings. With CBDCs, it doesn't change. I mean, if you were to look in that, people could just buy your, get your currency with ease, yeah. Today it might be a bit hot, but it's not impossible. And countries and governments do it all the time when they are dealing with terrorism and something like that. But they need an excuse to do it. They can't just outright take your belongings. In Rome, for example, they would do it if you were an enemy of the state. If you were a murderer or rapist or something like that, they wouldn't be able to do it because it wasn't a good enough excuse. You need to do something against the state for state to have the righteous role of grabbing your belongings. And the same with CBDC. It just makes it easier. That doesn't mean it's going to be used, because then it wouldn't be practical and people would lose confidence in the government. So it's just outright, just simply ridiculous. It can happen right now. Why would it happen when you have CBDs? It's like saying, oh, this guy is completely peaceful. If I give him a gun, he's going to be a serial killer. He won't. He just won't. Yes, it makes it easier for him, but that doesn't mean he's going to go crazy. Now, the second issue is, which I'm going over on the opposite perspective, but the second issue is when you can have money that is limited. You can only buy it or use it for certain things. We already have this as well, like gift cards and certain, things with like certain deals that some companies make with their customers. It is used, and usually for the benefit of people, because most of the time when these things are used, it's not, oh, you can only buy heroin with this. It's more like you can only buy good decent things with this. It's no one's ever going to be like, these cards are only for alcohol and bad consumption. It would be only for the benefit of people. It's actually you actually want people to, deprive them of things that they want to buy, rather than simply simply getting them to make things buy things they don't want to buy. It's people's nature that actually is the bad guy here, because it's your nature that makes you buy cigarettes. It's your nature to make you buy over processed sugary stuff. What's the government gonna do? Make you eat whole wheat bread? It's just not gonna be explicit. It's not gonna make much sense. There's nothing literally the government can do that can ruin your life in that. What they can do with this system, which is the only problem, is that they can prevent you from doing investments. So they can only, for example, say, oh, this is only can be used for whole foods and stuff like that. Well, let's say just foods in general. So they can make people weaker in the sense that they wouldn't be able to use their power, use their money to use on investment or something like that. But even then it wouldn't work, because then people would buy food for other people, which then the other people would give them something valuable in exchange. You can't prevent people from trading. If you have a fake digital currency, it's not going to prevent people from trading and changing things with each other. People do favor to each other, so it changes all the time, and which leads to my first problem. Rotting currency. We had this as well. Yeah, it is real. Grains were used as currency for many, many years. Probably way more than what we use as, silver or gold coins. It's rather new. Grains were used as currency for thousands of years. And yes, grains would rot. But this doesn't mean they were not valuable. And you need to understand, if you can have something, even that decays, you can still buy things with it. It doesn't prevent you from buying things with it. What happens if people have like $10 that is not going to be there in a week? Then that person buys something valuable with the $10. They can buy gold, they can buy silver, they can buy, to be honest, they can buy anything that they would value as, have some worth. I'll give you an example. If anyone has ever watched, seen Fallout, in that game, they use caps for currency. Why? Because that's much rarer in that world. So they just value that thing and just, unanimously agree this thing has this much value. It's like that with humans. That's what gives money its value. It doesn't have any actual value. It's just a paper. We give it value. We think, oh, this thing worth $10, 10 liras, 10 dinaries, or whatever. So it wouldn't really literally prevent people from, using money in a free way. It would just make it harder for them to use it in a conventional way. And that's all there is. That's all CBDCs can ever do. It's just a way of perhaps make your life a bit more inconvenient. People would still, put interest with the money they have, and buy things beyond behalf of one another, and that would just continue. If someone has, like today, if someone has like the right to buy marijuana, that person can easily go and buy marijuana for his friends in an inflated value. He goes buys $100 worth of marijuana, sells $200 worth of marijuana to his friends, the same amount. What happens? Do you think he gets caught? He's not going to, because if he's smart and sells to only his close friends, he's not going to be caught. The reality is that you can't really control people, no matter how good your system is. Take a look at today. We have much better information system today than ever. What happens? Do all of us live in dystopian worlds? No, we live in the most democratic era in human history, because this information is so widespread. Even if 90% of the information is media based and government based, you still have that 10% that people can reach to. And this was like that in the past too. This is just what was much less convenient than it is today. But it didn't change anything. today, even extreme regimes still have hard times suppressing their people, because it's not going to be likely for them to, simply control the people at will. Yeah, you have like the exceptional examples like North Korea or Eritrea, but to be honest, those systems are pretty weak, and I would say they would tumble in the smallest coup d'etat or some war or some, even to be honest, any economic disaster would be enough to, destroy those governments and systems. So no, I don't think CBDCs are going to be the end of the world.